But then came the main event of this parade of terror. I'm starting to ghost of Mr. Chicken things. Remember, how many matches have we had on this program? What, Hangnail Page and Claudio went the floor and the fucking entrance and the stage and flipping off, and we had the widespread brawl earlier with the Jericho's faction. It was all over the building. So now to make things completely different, a tornado tag match, falls count anywhere, anything goes, lazy booking for our main event. Again, do they know how to do anything else? Have they ever given the thought to the idea that it might mean something if it wasn't constant, done every fucking... Sting and Darby Allin with Ric Flair in the corner against Willie Hobbs and Take a Shit with Don Fallis. And they did a jump start and got in a four-way, and they all headed to the back of the arena. And I said, I can't take this. So I started fast-forwarding to skip to the finish again, right? And they went through a break, and when they came back from the break, they were actually in the ring. So I slowed down for a second because I said, okay, they're actually maybe going to start having a match now. And I saw where Hobbs and Take did the shitbag toss to Darby Allin from one side of the ring to the other by his arms and legs, and they spun him and almost broke his fucking neck on the ropes on the other side. And you will recall that Tommy Young, just by an errant accident, Tommy Rich tripping him, fumbling up under his feet, and Tommy falling and hitting the bottom rope with his forehead, injured his neck and was forced to retire and had surgery. And this guy's flung from 20 feet in the air into the fucking ropes. Then Flair got in and chopped and eye poked Hobbs, and then they started doing other shit, and Rick just turned around and stepped out. And then they were all on the stage, and Darby Allin coffin dropped Take from the top of the bleachers onto the stage, but he actually missed him. But thankfully, our boy Take a Shit was able to grab him as he went by and broke some of his fall. Of course, it looked phonier than a football bat.
He's our boy Takeshita. I'm not calling him Take a Shit. He deserves having he's good, and you keep using the worst name for him.
Well, then they should goddamn have given him a proper fucking name.
They gave him his name. You could just call him his name.
Hey, Reggie Lasowski didn't get over, did he? But the Crusher did.
He was over as Reggie Lasowski.
Not like the Crusher was. All right, how about Larry Shreve?
No, he was over as Abdullah.
Well, there you go. And then after they tried to kill, Darby tried to kill himself there, then Sting... Hobbs picked Sting up, and for no apparent reason except we found out at the end, picked him up and carried him along a walkway on the edge of the arena until suddenly they got to one spot, and then Sting squirmed off his back and grabbed Hobbs. That's because they were over the two tables that had been previously arranged so that Sting could give Hobbs a scorpion death drop off the stage through two tables to the concrete floor, and then cover him there for the referee's count of 1, 2, 3. So, poor Sting's got a handful of matches left. They're determined to put him in a goddamn iron lung. And poor Hobbs was going backwards through all of that.
I thought they crippled Darby when they threw him. I mean, you talked about it. The throw alone, throwing someone 20 feet in the air, I don't care how much they weigh, across the ring, it's going to hurt. I mean, the older he gets, the more it's going to hurt.
Well, besides that, he was spinning. He's out of control. He just told him, fling me, baby.
But when his head hit the rope, that's where you get really scared.
Well, if you go back and you slow-mo it, he was lucky enough that he landed somewhat, it's hard to describe without seeing the video and the frame by frame, but he landed somewhat that was able to impede his momentum, and he didn't actually go neck first like it looked like in fast motion was snapping the rope. the rope sprung and things had, but he was an inch maybe away at that, and at that speed, it would be a fraction of a second.
Yeah, I mean, one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life was that Perro Aguayo Jr. video where, whatever happened, he hit the rope and his neck snapped. And
yeah. It wasn't this violent.
If Darby had broken his neck, if Darby ended up in a wheelchair, I bet he would still make the pay-per-view. Sting, I thought they almost killed.
No, they're trying to kill Sting. Darby's trying to kill himself, but somebody's talking Sting and, oh, Sting, you're our hero. You're a legend. You're doing all this shit. They're trying to kill Sting.
When you see Sting down and it's taking him a while to get up and he's surrounded by the referee who's talking to whoever in the headset, Doc Samson, who is making sure that...
Who sounds like a fucking pulp hero from the 1930s.
Doc Samson is here. Doc Samson, whatever he asked Sting, he was looking at him so intently to figure out what was happening.
He was probably saying, what the fuck's the matter with you?
Flair's just wandering around, wondering if his meal ticket's going to be okay here. But why did Sting do this? And if one of these two things had gone just slightly more wrong, this would have been a disaster for AEW. And I know Darby's thing is the stunts, but this was a little bit too much. Maybe they just didn't realize how light he was.
Was
I don't know.
Sting in his glory days known for stunts?
Well, he was in the last battle in New Orleans, but they didn't really leave their feet in that one.
Well, but
and that was 87. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, he's not a person that's known for stunts, right? He was a star, and now he's an icon. But here from a...
Well, to be fair, you mean in-ring stunts, because he did do the cable to the ring a lot.
Well, I'm talking about fucking diving through furniture off high precipices. That's not the first thing you think of when you think of Sting, beating the chest. Whoa, it's showtime, and whatever the fuck. But speaking as someone who has not only operated promotions, but worked in the major ones of the time, he's the only guy there that's selling tickets right now. The house show, besides Wembley, I understand, I've heard rumors they're going back to Wembley. They're not really pumping it too hard, but I've heard rumors. But besides that, the atmosphere of the house show ticket sales across the board in the United States of America is miasmic. Google it, kids. MIASMIC. You'll blow snot. And one shines through that putrid atmosphere. Greensboro. They've sold 15,000 tickets because it's Greensboro and it's Sting's last match. And they're trying to kill him 2 months away. He's a 65-year-old man. And sometimes just going through all of that shit that he's going through, you think, my God, I know he's in great cardio shape, but seriously. And then to have him do backwards bumps with a guy in his arms off a stage, through tables onto floors for TV. By the time he retires, if he makes it to March, nobody's going to remember that bump. I don't know the ratings yet. I've been in secrecy. You're going to reveal them to me. But I can't believe that it was goddamn that many people that it was worth that. Not only for his health and welfare, but also Tony being an idiot. What's he going to do if Sting gets wheeled to the goddamn ring in the Greensboro Coliseum? Because he took this bump on TV. It's 2 months away. You know these people's track records. Jesus Christ. Shouldn't Sting, and in an amphitheater in Jacksonville. Not even a real goddamn arena.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not like it's his big last time in Jacksonville, one of his favorite places in the world.
No, it's the place that they could get for whatever quaint reason they can't. But the point is, he should be having a triumphant last match in every one of these cities that he wrestles in with him and Darby against somebody to keep it succinct. Let Darby sell, let Sting make the tag, let him make the comeback, and probably win by pinfall. You don't want to feed him to goddamn your entire roster. But then you could set something up for his last match, not what they're about to where, again, you would feature Sting, but you would hide his obvious weaknesses just because of age and gravity, and not do things that will rob Peter to pay Paul, as far as you did this spectacular stunt and he's out for the rest of his fucking tour and career. So that's the way I've looked at this, just from a business standpoint.
Well, that was the main event. And again, Flair.
Oh, God. I thought Rick was doing the Orange Cassidy thing when he chopped Hobbs, because I thought he was doing the fucking light chop thing at first, because people don't want to see the Nature Boy Ric Flair throw a chop unless he can fucking blister somebody just 3 shades shy of Wahoo, right? One time, pow, instead of boom. Oh, that didn't work. Boom. Oh, poke him in the eye. It just...
Nobody wants to feel bad watching Ric Flair. You want to remember as much as you can of him at his peak, and then you see him like this, and it's just... And I thought he was going to fall down at one... Or at least I thought he thought he was going to fall down at one point, because he was starting to, waddle out of the ring or whatever was happening, and he like kind of froze and didn't move for a second. And I was like, oh no. If like there's a bump anywhere near him, he's going to go down. But he somehow got out of the ring.
Well, and there's the 2 biggest stars involved in this are 65 and 70. What is Flair now? What have we established he is?
78?
No, God damn it. He's born in 49. Huh. November. No, February of 49, right? Yes. So, well, God, I'm arguing with myself. At least I have an intelligent person to bandy around back and forth with.
Like the age of Ric Flair.
He was born in February of 49. It's almost February of 24, so he's 74 and 7/8. And they're the biggest stars in this fucking operation here.
If you're going to do anything with Ric Flair physical, save it for the pay-per-view in Charlotte. Or not Charlotte, Greensboro, excuse me.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, don't show them to where they get to Greensboro and they're like, oh, please, Rick, don't get physical. But anyway, that's that. But then, and of course, as I mentioned, my DVR, mercifully, they didn't want me to see the DVR gods that we pray to every week. Don't want me to see what's coming next, because my DVR froze because it was 10 o'clock. So again, here's this big fucking angle. And I guess it's necessary to artificially inflate, as we have broken down mathematically, their overall number. But to have an overrun where, but of course, I've seen what I need to see. Tony Schiavone gets in the ring and basically said, well, Sting, who's your final opponent going to be? And wouldn't you know who won the pony? The Buckaroos. I thought that they were supposed to be from, where was Buck Owens from out in California? Bakersfield. I thought the Buckaroos were supposed to be from Bakersfield, but they're from Cucamonga. And I encourage everybody to look up, because it was covered on Twitter, the ludicrosity and the ridiculousness of the way that they looked. But you got to see the pictures, you got to see the clip, whatever. They both, now their facial hair choice, Brian, I saw people liken it to the 70s movie villain, but it just the Bond fucking henchman, not even the boss, it's not like impressive or anything, it's just there. They're trying to show, I guess,
maybe
that they have hair on their testicles.
Maybe if the James Bond film was in France, they could be the henchmen.
French henchmen. They're French henchmen. But what was more, they used to come out with tennis shoes and the fucking frilly things, and I don't know what the fuck they were wearing. But now they came out, one of them is wearing a black suit, and one of them is wearing an all-white suit, to where they looked like they had just come from a casting call of a goddamn amateur production of Spy versus Spy from Mad Magazine. And they stand there, and from what I am led to believe by all the evidence I've been able to turn up, that's all that happened. They just stood there. Did you see anything else?
No, they played their music. They stood there. The crowd wasn't exactly going crazy. There was a shot when the music started playing, they had a wide shot, and they started panning in. And I'm watching everyone. There was one guy opposite the camera jumping for a second. No one else moved. No one moved.
You ever think he got stung by a fucking hornet on his ass?
Not only did a lot of people not want to see the Young Bucks come back right away, but to have them in this match, I think for a lot of people that want to enjoy a last match for Sting, this may not be the opponent they would want to see in there. There is an argument that some people are making that the Young Bucks may be the perfect guys to get in there to have the best possible match with Sting. If they're going to do a tag match.
Well, they haven't been worried about it so far when they put him in all these fucking scrambled egg cluster fucks about that are seen by more people than this are going to see this pay-per-view. So why should they? No, trust me, from an insider business standpoint, these two jolly jokers see 15,000 tickets sold in Greensboro already. And like what, when Hogan added himself to the fucking card against Goldberg or whatever, when they'd already sold 40,000 in the Georgia Dome, they swooped back in. They convinced Tony, well, we'll take all these bumps and we'll fly for Sting and we'll make him look like $1 million so they get to be in the big match in front of 15,000 people with their new suits and their new stashes. And because of Tony's stash and its never-ending bottom, he went for it. That's what they did. They're glory hogs. And they've swooped back. They might be able to have a great match. What about drawing money? What about selling tickets? They've known Sting was going to retire for all these months and months, and this is the best thing they've come up with.
Well, let me read you a quote here. This was tweeted out by Wrestle Talk. This is from Dave Meltzer on his podcast.
Oh, boy.
There is no tag team in wrestling in the last how many years? Maybe even ever, but certainly in the last 20 years, there is no tag team in wrestling that is better at carrying people to good matches.
Oh, good Lord.
The things that they have done with Private Party.
The things that they have done to Private Party.
With Dante and Darius Martin.
Who are... God damn it, I swear to God, if Dante and Darius Martin right here, as we sit here right now, we're on a street corner in the United States of America with a sign that says we'll wrestle for food, nobody would know who the fuck they were.
When these guys were right out of the indies, had never done a big match, and they made both of those teams look like they were the best tag team in wrestling.
Oh, Christ.
And teams that in 5 years were going to be through the roof. And
what?
And I'm not confident that either of those teams are ever going to be at that level that they looked like. Private Party still never had a match that good again. The Martins, I don't know they've had a match that good. So
fuck? They're going to be the top teams in 5 years, except they've never been that good again.
And those matches were a while ago. So because of those matches, these guys are, the other argument.
If those matches were so great, then why are these guys now not in the main events? And why are they not selling tickets? And why are people not saying, oh, Dante, we love you in massive numbers or whatever the fuck? They're not, because they're not over. They have a good match, which a smaller and smaller subsection of the greater United States of America wrestling population says is great, and they don't sell any tickets. They don't draw any money because they're not over, because they look like the interchangeable fucking children playing on their trampolines. And that's why the other company is kicking their ass, because there's grown men with hair on their chest and balls. And they're fighting each other in some respect instead of cooperative parkour. And he can't get it. And so these children are going to come in and take a bunch of bumps for Sting and fly around for Sting and put Sting over in however fashion. And the money at the live event has already been drawn before they ever even knew this. But they could have actually had a money pay-per-view match lined up instead of this last-minute bullshit from these glory hogs.
Unless Sting said he wanted to have this match with the Young Bucks for his last match?
Then somebody should have talked him out of it, because he's still the employee. He's not the booker. He's not the promoter. He's not the owner of the company. He's not signing his check. Sting, you need to go out with a big money match, not a goddamn indie-rific fucking smart fan jack-off match.
And I'm not trying to make this about the Bucks and FTR, but imagine if this was FTR versus Sting and Darby in Greensboro. They already sold the tickets.
Jesus Christ.
It's Sting's retirement match.
There's the best match in the goddamn possible in the available pool of pro wrestlers today. Sting and Darby Allin in Greensboro at FTR. And it would be a professional, responsible fucking way to send Sting off. Instead of these guys playing with their own fucking peckers again.
Well, they showed up. They have their new look. They were going to reinvent themselves because they were dead in the water previously, and they've certainly not lit up anything in the last few hours, at least in terms of the fashion blogs. We'll find out with the
neither one of them is Edison then, if they were going to reinvent themselves. I don't know if I was them, I'd quit my day job.
I think the hardcore AEW fan, the AEW fan in the bubble, needs to acknowledge that more and more fans groan every time these two guys come out, no matter how long you keep them on, off TV, on TV. No matter how long you keep them off TV.
No, they groan both ways.
They groan both ways. And the whole, how can I miss you if you ever go away? Sometimes you're happy someone goes away. And it could stay that way for at least a while.
You feel that they didn't stay away nearly long enough sometimes.
So I think the problem is for the Sting retirement match, some of the negative feedback. Again, some people are saying the Bucks may be the perfect opponents. For the other people, the 12,000 people that bought tickets, maybe it's more than that. I mean, it's sold out.
15. It's
a sellout. I mean, this is going to be their biggest domestic show probably all year, unless, I guess maybe Arthur Ashe. We'll see.
Good luck.
But that crowd, you would have to think, if you're buying tickets in advance for a show advertising Sting's retirement, there's a chance that crowd may not be Young Bucks fans, or not even fans, but an audience that's as conducive to them as they would be Sting, traditional Sting.
Yes, and why we just mentioned the perfect opponents, FTR, the best all-around pro wrestlers on the roster, still in their primes and able to do everything that you would need to do to get either Darby or Sting or both over, instead of the flippy, floppy, goofy bullshit from these flaccid, flabby, skinny, fat, old, young buckaroos.
I've heard of skinny fat. Old, young is new. I have not heard that one before.
They look like children, but they're almost eligible for AARP.
That's going to be a new title for Tony next year.
The old young bucks. So, I mean, that took us exactly 30 seconds to realize, of everybody on that roster, the people in Greensboro, North Carolina would want to see these professional wrestlers engage with Sting and Darby Allin, not trampoline cowboys.
Yeah. Well, Jim, that was AEW Dynamite, and that was the return of the Young Bucks, the Elite, back running things in AEW. Hangman Page getting involved in the main event picture, and now the Young Bucks showing up with their new hat and look. And of course, if you had to place a bet on what you thought was going to happen at AEW Revolution, Sting's retirement match, will it go over with that crowd? Will it not work with that crowd? Will it be an excellent match? Will it be the tribute everyone wants? If you wanted to place a bet, you may be able to go to the official partner in one sense or another of ours. What are they exactly?
I don't know where will it go round in circles? Will it fly high like a bird up in the sky? Will it go around in circles?
I'm talking about our friends at DraftKings, and they believe in us so much that their copy is bare this week, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, here's the thing. They know that neither one of us are experts in the gambling philosophy because, we're inexperienced. We're naifs. We're naive. We're babes in the woods at this. The last time that I placed a bet and won that bet was in 1986 when I won $50 off of Ric Flair in the University of Louisville, North Carolina College basketball showdown. And then I quit while I was ahead. And you're not a big sports bettor, even though you're a sports fan. But there are people we are broadcasting to right now that on a regular basis, they go out there and they win all kinds of money. They have new swimming pools put in with the money they win. They have new hookers come over to the house with the money they win. Whatever they do with their money, it's up to them, folks. It is not for us to judge.
Or maybe they just invest and they're reasonable, nice people.
And they're reasonably nice people who can invest in hookers and blow and things like that because they want all this.
That's not an investment. That's an expenditure. That's not an investment.
But then you're going to get, in return, you're going to get something for it, a good time for at least some period of time. Until things head south. And then the leprosy angle comes in. But anyway, a lot of the listeners out there, they like to bet on the sports. They like to win the bets that they place, obviously. Sometimes you lose. These collectors' plates can go down. However, if you go to DraftKings right now, the official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs and a fine sponsor of ours, is what you were trying to say earlier. They're going to help make the playoffs electrifying because you'll be shocked. Boy, when you make these bets and you see what happened, you'll be fucking shocked. Because new customers right now, you bet $5 on any of these games and you get $200 instantly in bonus bets. So they're just going to give you $200 if you bet $5. So if you win, well, you're practically fucking robbing them at gunpoint, for heaven's sake.
You're practically not robbing them. You're practically doing things the right way, the way they want you to do it. So,
well, you can win a lot more money by betting $205 than you can by betting just $5. And it's their money that they're going to be giving you if you win. So you're just stealing. You're just stealing from these people.
You're not stealing. You're accepting. I don't even know if a gift is the right word.
Are you accepting some kind of bribe or to not go over and rough them up if they don't pay off? What are you talking about here?
There are no bribes involved in this. You're accepting a gratis, a wonderful gift for free, and you're doing it without any robbery being involved.
$5 in it. You ain't going to win this one. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use the code JCE. That's the way that you get the $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. And I don't know if that goes up in increments. For example, if you were to bet $50, would you get $2,000 in bonus bets? I don't know. Maybe the crown is yours, they say. Maybe this whole scam is geared toward you. Seems like that would be just like taking candy from a baby. But
let's make sure we understand that it is not a scam. This is not a scam. I don't know why you would use that word.
It's an arrangement, wink, wink. But right now, if you download the DraftKings Sportsbook, you just do whatever you do to download a DraftKings Sportsbook app or any other app for that matter. However you download an app, you do it. And then apparently some guy in a fucking pinstripe suit comes knocking on your door and delivers you the odds and everything. And then you place your bets with that gentleman. And you better pay up when he comes back if you lose. But if you win, he'll be bringing you cash.
No.
In a black briefcase handcuffed to his wrist.
No cash. Well, I shouldn't say that, but no briefcase. There will be no gentleman coming to your door. It's a virtual online gentleman that you'll have no actual real-time interaction with.
So he's virtually a gentleman, but not quite.
It's not even he. It's an it. It's a
now, even though the line of work he's in is considered shady by some, there's no reason to dehumanize this poor guy.
That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying It overall is a virtual it that controls DraftKings. It's not necessarily a man in a top hat coming to your door.
We're trying to get people to do business with DraftKings, and it's controlled by a virtual it? What is this, some kind of artificial intelligence trying to take over the world? They're trying to get our information?
Virtual it is what happens when you don't send copy for your spots.
Well, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app if you know how to download an app, because I don't know how to do that, and use the code JCE. And if you know how to bet on sports, which I have no experience with either, then if you bet $5 and you're a new customer, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. And if you watch these people play the football and you're reasonably certain you can figure this shit out, well, go ahead and do it. DraftKings Sportsbook app right now, code JCE, $200 in bonus bets. That's the best I can do for you, not having a single fucking clue of how this whole shit works.
That's right, and whether you have a clue or not, DraftKings is there for you. One more time, what's that promo code, Jim?
JCE. The crown is yours. And also, it says, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE-NEW YORK 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777. Boy, you hit the jackpot. Don't call, just play again. Or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, we thank you. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, the giant black hole that is creeping ever wider. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Is that even in days? See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Or just don't do any of that and just make your bet to see what happens.
All right, DraftKings, the official betting partner of Jim Cornette. But Jim, with that, we're going to move on to AEW Dynamite. Remember when it had CC back in their copy? Instead of C once, It said CC.
Yeah, CC Ryder. Just see what you have done. Oh, CC Ryder.